There's something disturbing happening to guys right now. It's very super common, plus taboo by nature. And most men won't admit it out loud. Because every time life hits them with something even slightly real, they don't like to face it. They goon through it. If they're stressed, goon. Lonely, goon. Bored, goon. Awkward silence, goon. Too many thoughts, goon. All in secret. And that's what this video is really about. Not addiction, not discipline, not moral lectures. It's about how a whole generation of men train their brains to run away from reality instead of sitting with it. Here's the reality I want all of you guys to learn. Your brain recognizes things in patterns. So if something instantly removes discomfort, your brain stamps it as the solution. So if you're stressed, if you feel some type of pleasure or arousal, or some form of insecurity, your brain goes on autopilot and chooses to use that as an escape. So that's why you see people going to hedonistic things like casual sex, junk food, alcohol, or any other forms of hedonism that I can't think off the top of my head right now. All of it just happens on autopilot, and this is why people tend to goon. So your brain learned one trick and kept repeating it over and over again. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm some morally righteous person. I used to be stuck in the same shit too, from like ages 13 to 16, just like many other guys who can't seem to get away from this shit. But the only thing is with me, I attribute this to just luck and just me getting busy as far as like jobs go. I basically just stopped when I got my first job. And because I had my first job and I was excited to start and like actually make money at the age of 16, at this point, I was just mentally disgusted with that habit that I was doing prior to this job that I had at the time. And then eventually it came to the point to where I realized that I was doing something artificial to dodge what I didn't want to feel. And which is what a lot of you guys are doing right now, don't lie. And without going into the dopamine talk, because at this point you guys probably know what dopamine is and what its purpose is and what it does. You gotta realize that your brain's reward system pushes you towards connection, touch, presence, and bonding. And artificial stimulation hijacks that system. So that means real interactions require effort, while screens ask for nothing in return, besides your soul. And when you think about it this way, it's gonna make so much more sense because your brain wants someone who looks back at you, and real intimacy gives you oxytocin, which pixels can't give you that. But let's say, for example, you've been into like a relationship, right? Like relationships where it's just on the phone. It feels intimate in the moment until you realize there's really no real genuine connection because you're not physically touching another human being. And the thing no one really tells you guys is the long-term effects that it has on you. Artificial comfort makes real life feel worse. Like I said before, real conversations feel like you have to give it more effort and it feels more draining to you. Real intimacy feels scary. That's why you see guys so afraid to approach girls or talk to people or hold eye contact. And real progress feels slow. And yes, it generally is, but at the end of the day, it's more rewarding than this artificial shit. And what's even more fucked up, and yes, I'm giving you guys the facts, so you guys should probably like the video as I continue yapping on. But what's even more fucked up is the fact that it's engineered to be this way.
Shall we begin?
This behavior did not spread because men suddenly lost discipline. It spread because the environment changed faster than the brain could adapt. In 2019, roughly 11% of men described themselves as addicted to pornography. By the early 2020s, research shifted away from measuring addiction and toward loss of control and problematic use. But because access became constant, private, and effortless, the human brain does not measure meaning. It measures intensity, novelty, repetition. When stimulation becomes unlimited, restraint stops being a virtue and starts feeling like a disadvantage. Erectile dysfunction in younger men reflects the same shift. For decades, it was considered rare before middle age. But over the past 20 years, clinical research has shown that a noticeable percentage of men under 40 report erectile difficulties, often linked to psychological factors rather than physical damage. Some studies place that number in the mid-teens, while others report rates approaching the high 20s in certain populations. This is not a collapse of the body. It is a change in expectation. The brain learns to expect intensity without effort, satisfaction without risk, imitation of intimacy without responsibility. Over time, real interaction begins to feel uncomfortable, not because it is worse, but because it is slower. It asks for patience, vulnerability, presence. Platforms understood this early. They optimized for escalation and retention, not connection, not bonding, not long-term fulfillment. What is rarely discussed is how far this conditioning now reaches. It's no longer hidden in adult spaces. It's injected into the same platforms kids use every day, disguised as entertainment, engineered to spark curiosity, and delivered without warning. At the same time, a new normalization has emerged. The moment someone someone reaches legal adulthood, they are encouraged to monetize themselves immediately, often before identity, boundaries, or self-respect have fully formed. What is framed as freedom is frequently desperation dressed up as validation. And when the system extracts all the value it can, many are left with nothing but a rebrand. Some try to erase the past overnight. Others retreat into extremes, declaring themselves purified, reborn, or detached from what they helped normalize. But dignity is not restored by pretending nothing happened. This cycle benefits the system twice, once during participation, and again during the performance of regret. What looks like individual choice is better understood as large-scale influence. And once a culture trains people to flee discomfort, reality itself begins to feel hostile.
And when you avoid feeling things long enough, these things start to pile up. Every emotion that you feel becomes a trigger. So, like I keep emphasizing with these emotions, when you're stressed, bored, lonely, when you see one thirst trap, you get an urge. Open Instagram for 2 seconds, you're bombarded with thirst traps. And the algorithm knows what you like. Or sometimes, if you're trying to sway away from it, it will still put it in front of you. I'm not gonna lie, but it's up to you to scroll past it. There is no monk mode in this shit. There's no deleting apps off your phone unless it's corn related. There's no pretending like you're holy or pretending like prayer alone is going to fix all your problems, although it can help. You have to fix your problems for yourself. What you need to do is add friction. Make accessing it harder, put like ad blockers, reduce triggers, move your body more, fill your time with intentional, meaningful shit, and sit through the tension of the feeling. A lot of people don't know how to sit with themselves in the silence and feel through the tension of whatever it is that they're feeling at the moment. And build real connections slowly. And you're going to fuck up and slip up. It's inevitable. But slipping doesn't erase progress. We're not striving for perfection. We're striving for progression. Because when you take that approach, it shows that you're genuinely trying instead of pretending or deluding yourself into believing that you don't have this problem. And let me be honest, a lot of people lie to themselves. They convince themselves that they're fine and all this other shit, but no, they're not. Because the reality is you cannot fix what you pretend is not there. And once you pull the habit out of the shadows, your identity just starts to change naturally. It's just a natural progression thing. Not into some type of saint, I want to emphasize that again, but with someone who has genuine control over themselves again. Like for example, me, when I see some type of thirst trap, I just scroll right past it, or I become very disgusted with it. I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you presenting yourself in such a disrespectful manner? You're disrespecting your family, you're disrespecting your lineage, and you're disrespecting yourself. And you're disrespecting my eyes. I don't want to see that shit. But yeah, that's about it, man. If you liked what I had to say, leave a like on the video. Dream big and take action. I'm gonna see you guys. Peace.